With so many residential developments popping up all over New Braunfels, from traditional homes to condos, apartments, and townhomes, why then is New Braunfels in trouble? A new city report says affordability in New Braunfels is at a 40-year low. That means the people who make New Braunfels run every day, the teachers, the trade workers, young professionals, are all being pushed out. They can't afford to buy, and in many cases, they can't afford to rent in New Braunfels. And if that trend continues, then New Braunfels could very well become a place where only newcomers with bigger incomes can move in, while those who serve the city every day are forced to look somewhere else. Today, we're breaking down why affordability has collapsed in New Braunfels, what's driving the gap, and what's being done to bring balance back to New Braunfels. And we're diving a little bit deeper for you in today's video to see if this affordability gap can close in New Braunfels. I started running comps on cities similar to New Braunfels, going through the same thing, and then one came up. So I reached out to my agent partner in a city similar to New Braunfels in so many ways, a city where affordability has been under pressure since the pandemic, like New Braunfels. Does that city's solutions offer hope for New Braunfels, or is affordability just beyond repair here? If you're new here to my channel, thank you so much for coming aboard, because every week we are putting out relevant and timely information just like this about what it's like to live in New Braunfels. New Braunfels' affordability problem is tied directly to its massive growth. Since 2010, New Braunfels' population has doubled from around 58,000 to a projected 123,000 today. The growth has become more pronounced since the start of the pandemic. In 2020, New Braunfels' population was 90,000. We've gained 33,000 new residents since then. Many came from out of state, like California, the Midwest, East Coast, the Pacific Northwest, and these people came in droves and came with lots of money during the pandemic, which caused the median home price in New Braunfels to increase significantly. The price of a home in New Braunfels just before the pandemic was around $254,000 in 2019. Today, the median home price in city limits is around $335,000. That's an $80,000 jump in 5 years. At the same time, many of the jobs in New Braunfels are service related. We're a tourist town: Two Rivers, the lake, historic district of Green, historic downtown, postcard views, a popular water park. You're not going to be able to afford a house or even rent making $10 to $18 an hour. Even middle income earners, people making $36,000 to $60,000 a year, are getting priced out. The people New Braunfels depends on every day can't afford to stay here. We talked about the demand, tens of thousands of people moving to New Braunfels, especially the last few years. When you have that much demand, it really puts a strain and a pinch on supplies and costs. Lumber has gone up about 30% since 2018, and that makes up about a third of the home's price. Add in more expensive land, insurance, and financing, and those costs eventually get passed on to the buyers and the renters. Now, to buy a home in New Braunfels, you need to make anywhere from $55,000 to $75,000 a year. That'll get you a home priced between $193,000 and $280,000, whether it's resale or new construction. The bad news there is only 1/3 of the homes sold in New Braunfels fall in that price range. Pretty obvious that we have an affordability problem in New Braunfels. The good news is that the problem isn't being ignored. The city has been clearing the way for higher density living the past few years with all the growth, more housing options other than traditional housing, like townhomes, apartments, condos, cottage style homes, smaller lots, smaller units. High density equals a smaller cost. New construction is a popular choice for buyers in New Braunfels because of the incentives and discounts from builders. The lowest priced homes are either right off our main highway or off the state highway between New Braunfels and Seguin. This is a double-edged sword because the people who have been living in New Braunfels for a very long time want this growth to just stop yesterday. On the flip side, though, the growth is actually helping with more attainable, more affordable living in New Braunfels. The city is also experimenting with what's referred to as more attainable living options. These are new apartment developments without balconies to save tenants on rent. Now, these rents and leases, they're a stopgap for many people planning to purchase someday in New Braunfels. As I said earlier, only a third of our housing stock in New Braunfels is priced between $200,000 and $300,000. The remaining, about 70%, are priced between $301,000 and $1 million plus. So how then are so many people living in all these homes? Well, welcome to Commute Town, USA. I mean, many people move to New Braunfels because of its location, just not necessarily when it comes to their jobs. And that's because almost 70% of working New Braunfels residents commute out of New Braunfels to their higher paying jobs. And that's a leak the city's Economic Development Corporation is trying to stop by recruiting higher paying jobs to New Braunfels. In many cases, same jobs that people are commuting to. And the city has some traction so far. Continental Automotive opened 3 years ago. They're here in town making car radars and sensors. Entry-level pay there is around $22 an hour or $46,000 a year, which is just enough to make a lower lease payment or a starter home possible between $143,000 and $220,000. The inventory of homes, though, in New Braunfels selling between $100,000 and $200,000 is less than 4%. So your options are very limited. But those options could loosen up because a new manufacturer is coming to New Braunfels. It's called Lefco USA, and they'll make custom plastic parts for manufacturers in Mexico and the South. Average salary there will be $62,000 a year, which is enough to get you a home around $241,000 with today's mortgage rates. Not a big house, not a lot of land, but you're in the door. Limited options is not just a New Braunfels thing. Tourist towns everywhere struggle with this. Aspen, Key West, Sedona, Fredericksburg all have locals and workers who can't afford to live in those places. Curiosity got the best of me, so I decided to do some research to build a case for New Braunfels. Are there other cities in America going through the same thing, having affordability gaps like New Braunfels, similar cities to New Braunfels, and turn things around through higher job recruitment? Or is New Braunfels just beyond repair when it comes to affordability? My research came up with a town called Bend. It's in Oregon, similar in size to New Braunfels, went through a growth spurt like New Braunfels. Bend is known for outdoor recreation, sound familiar, like New Braunfels. The natural amenities drive tourism, just like New Braunfels. Both cities, Bend and New Braunfels, are among the fastest growing mid-sized cities in the US. Bend also faces the locals and workers can't afford to live here problem, but Bend has also recruited higher paying jobs in the fields of education, healthcare, bioscience, technology. In fact, technology and bioscience jobs are growing as Bend attracts remote workers and startup professionals. This didn't happen overnight, though. It took Bend, Oregon, about 20 years to really get some traction going on their higher paying jobs. In comparison, New Braunfels is in its very early stages, the first 5 years. But did all of Bend's efforts to recruit higher paying jobs actually fix their affordability problem? I reached out to my agent partner in Bend, Oregon, and his answer is somewhat surprising.
Hey, Rod, thanks for having me on. Yeah, I think that, locals are still kind of getting priced out to a certain degree, right? I mean, there are better jobs that are coming in, but again, you have to think about the actual median sales price here in Bend is way higher than you guys have there. I mean, it's like 750 to 800 is kind of the median sales price. So even though we have some of these higher paying jobs coming in, locals who grew up here are still finding that those jobs are not exactly attainable for them. The really high paying jobs are attracting the outside people to move to the area. And we're a community like yours. It's super recreationally based. So people want to live here. If they can find an excuse to live here, they're going to. But the locals themselves who are already here, their quest for finding a higher paying job, it also is helping that as well, because I mean, there's a sign literally as I drive by every day, getting off the parkway to come to my neighborhood. There's a sign that says, "We will train you." And it's from one of those kind of, tech companies or biotech companies. I said, they'll train you. So they are trying. I think the businesses are trying to help the community, right? By growing, by offering more jobs. And I think that they're doing their very best to help that. But I will also say that the majority of the higher paying jobs that'll really allow people to afford living in this community are still largely coming from outside the area.
Do you think Bend can solve its affordability problem, or is this just the new normal there?
Well, I mean, obviously we're kind of stuck because there's already a gap and it's been really tough to close. The city council here in Bend has been working very, very hard with the newly kind of elected board over the last, election cycle. Their number one priority right now is affordable housing. So they are granting all kinds of one-time exceptions to their UGB boundaries. Lots of projects with affordable housing, they're deed restricted housing to where they can, only sell to people who are making 75 to 80% of the median area income. There's doing a lot of things to try to help that. Maybe it's a little too late because I said we had this big boom and now our prices are outrageous over the last just 10 years. So is it too late? Maybe. It may end up being one of those, kind of Aspen type communities where, locals cannot simply afford to live in the town. I hope it doesn't get that way, but you're never really sure. It's going to depend on how many more businesses continue to come to town and if we can kind of increase the inventory for people, which will obviously, decrease prices.
Thank you, John. So what's happening right now in Bend, Oregon is a reminder that higher paying jobs don't automatically solve affordability. In many cases, it raises the ceiling and the gap still exists. Will New Braunfels face the same fate as Bend, Oregon, or will the city's efforts to recruit higher paying jobs actually help more families, more locals, more workers live in New Braunfels? I want to hear from you right now. What do you make of the city's plan to recruit higher paying jobs? And if you agree with that, what types of jobs would you like to see in New Braunfels? Let me know in the comment section below. And whether you choose to buy or sell in New Braunfels, of course, I'd love to be your real estate resource of choice. You can email me, you can call me, or you can shoot me a text. As always, thank you so much for coming to and watching our videos every week, and we'll see you on the next one.